Hey Boss, what's up, man? How's it going? Testing, testing. Let's not fall off the edge of the world here, if we can help it. Zouse, what's up, man? Mic check, mic check. I know exactly. Oh, we're doing the impossible, Zelch. I don't know if you saw this. How you doing, man? I'm doing the hardcore again. But I can't use any gear other than gear I craft. And I can't use any weapons other than weapons or jewelry that I loot from a chest. So I've basically physically been punching my way. I don't know if it's fun. It's challenging. I don't know if I'm going to let myself... I'll probably use a bow, but I have to find one. The only bow I can use is the one I find in a chest. So it's either a chest I find in the world or a loot box from fishing, like a lockbox. You know, like an iron-bound lockbox or whatever. So, or a weapons crate. Or if we... And I've actually... There's a chest right there. And I've actually... on Darkshore, I've actually got a little map here that shows me like possible weapons crate spawn locations. And I've been looking at I've been hunting those, but I'm a little bit too low level. I have been leveling fishing, yeah. Yeah, like currently my skinning is 97, my leatherworking is 52, my cooking is 110, first aid 25, my fishing is 101. So we have been leveling fishing, and obviously fishing is going to be our best chance of getting weapons and jewelry. That's our best chance, but the best farming for that stuff is Stone Talon Mountains. So, but we're still a little bit... We got to get to around level 23 probably before we really start farming those pools. But there's also ones in wetlands. There's also ones along Darkshore. But I mean, really, Stone Talon Mountains is the cream of the crop when it comes to farming fishing nodes for, you know, for trying to get gear at a lower level. I wonder if I can... Oh god, I don't know if I can kill 4 mobs. Yeah, let's screw it. We can kill 4 mobs, right? We can kill 4 mobs. Who do they think we are, right? Yeah, the worst part... I don't want to say the worst part, but I don't know if I can get this character to 60. Probably not. And we can't get to 60 by the time that this is the problem I've dealt with World of Warcraft for a long time now, is that I can never really finish a character on any server because there's always something else. You know, it's always like, oh, classic Anniversary Fresh, let's play that. Oh, new Hardcore Realms, let's play that. Oh, you know, like classic, regular classic reboot again. You know, or like, oh, we got the Burning Crusade is coming out. Let's play that. You know what I mean? It's just this constant like release of servers. Anyways, so here's a chest. So there's a very low chance we get a weapon in a chest this low level, but I guess it's possible. Oh, there it is. So here is our very first weapon. Also, we get to use this healing potions. Now, I have healing potions in my bag, but I can't use these healing potions because these weren't looted from a chest. So these are going... So we won't use this anyway, but we do have our very first weapon right here, right? So, I don't know if I can loot this. So we've got the massive sharpened letter opener. That is our first weapon at level 12. Nice, right? I feel like so epic, right? It's like so epic. All right, so we were doing. My pet was doing 75% of the damage, so let's. It's not going to be good yet because we got to level up the dagger skill, probably. I'm sure, but now we can actually use Raptor Strike, and I haven't even trained up Raptor Strike. Like I think I've got a couple ranks, at least one rank of Raptor Strike to train up. So, okay, but yeah, let's level up our dagger skill. But yeah, it kind of sucks. Oh shit, there's a lot of mobs here. It's okay, we got this. It kind of sucks. I mean, I'm really excited for Project Epoch, and Zelch, you should be excited for Project Epoch too if you're excited about the idea of Classic Plus. Because if Project Epoch, I mean, I have doubts that it's going to be as good as we hope it is. It's just because let's just be honest. When it comes to MMOs, we've not had much good luck. We've had very little good fortune in the MMO space for so long that it's just sad. But if Project Epoch comes out, and if it's good, then I won't be playing regular WoW again. Like, for a while. I might play it. I'm sure I'll play it again at some point. But if Project Epoch's really good, I'll just be playing Project Epoch. There won't be any reason to play anything else. So, okay, our dagger skill's up to 30. Yeah, well, I think TBC is fun too, and I like the idea of TBC. But Project Epoch offers a lot more it offers more than what TBC offers, which is a lot of new stuff. TBC just is stuff we've already done. I've already done that, and even though I love TBC, I've already done it. So Project Epoch actually offers new stuff. You know what I mean? I haven't sent in my application, and I had a falling out with the Magic guy who was one of the guys who works on Project Epoch. I don't remember why I had a falling out with him because the communication Discord chat is deleted. I don't know why. Whatever, I don't know. I don't remember what. He said something that obviously pissed me off, and I probably said something that pissed him off, and he stopped talking to me. So I don't think they'd ever let me work on that project because he probably would put in a bad word for me. But who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I don't have time to do that, to work on that stuff. But you're gonna quit? So you're saying, Zelch, come on, you've been playing WoW for as long as I can remember. Would you actually quit World of Warcraft after TBC? Are you saying you're going to quit gaming, or are you just going to quit WoW? Are you going to go play a different game? Are you going to play a different MMO? Like, what are you saying? I'm definitely looking to quit WoW. I mean, I've played WoW for so long, you know what I mean? Oh, you don't know, Jayo? On July 26th, you was thinking going back to FPS games? I can't do FPS anymore. Yeah, Project Epoch releases on the 26th, which is a big thing, a big deal, because it's a private server that could be like kind of what most of us are looking forward to for like a Classic Plus experience. I can't do FPS anymore unless it's like a team shooter like Overwatch. Here's the biggest problem with FPS. Now, this is a problem that exists in all games, but FPS more so than MMOs it's toxic. It's so fucking toxic. Like, now, if you're going to play an FPS game just for fun and you're not competitively, then sure. But I mean, why play FPS if you're not going to play competitive? Like, it's no fun to play FPS. Like, I'm not going to go play Overwatch just to play Overwatch. I mean, I loved Overwatch. When Overwatch came out, I was super stoked because I was a hardcore Unreal. I mean, I was like pretty much pro level UT99 player. Like, I was God mode UT99. I was so good at UT99 that people banned me on servers. I'd go to a server and I was so good, people accused me of aimbotting. This is way back in 1999 when FPS was still kind of a fairly new thing, right? But I was God mode. I was so good. Like, I remember my brother's best friend came over when I lived in Chicago with my brother, and we lived in this big loft downtown Chicago. We had a big desk set up with our computers on it. We would have LAN parties, right, back in the day, right? And I remember my brother's best friend came over and he stood behind me and was watching me play Unreal Tournament, and he just was fucking floored. He's like, God. He's like, and this is what it sounded like. This is what he said. He's like, God, Julian. He's like, Joe's my brother. He's like, God, Julian. Joe told me we're good, but I had no idea. You're like a fucking god. That was exactly how he said it. Because that's how good I was. I mean, I was so good. Like, when you watched me play UT, it was like watching, it'd be like watching Reckful in his heyday playing Rogue. Just destroy. That was me. It was just like, I was God mode. I was that good. Well, I quit. I mean, I moved on. I played. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you. Here's the reason why I was so good at Unreal. Yeah, my FPS. No, that's not true. My Twitch reflexes are still really good, actually. My Twitch reflexes are phenomenally good still. Um, but here's the thing. Here's why I was so good at Unreal Tournament. One, I loved it. Of course, I loved it. But in 19, like, I ended up getting a divorce, like around 2000 or so. I don't know. There was a time when I kind of got a divorce, and when I got a divorce, like, I was really depressed, right? And this was around 2000 or something. And so all I did to like handle I was already good at on return. I was always like already a really good player. But to handle my divorce, my life went into UT99. All I did was play that game. Like, I got up in the morning, I played. I took a shower. I went to work. My office was across the street from the apartment I lived in. So I walked across the street. It took me like 2 minutes to walk across the street, go to work. On my lunch break, I came home from work, played UT99 for an hour. Then I walked back to work, worked till 5, came home, ate dinner, usually drank a beer or two because I was so depressed, and then I played UT99 from probably about 7 until midnight. I did that every day for like 2 years straight. So I was playing like, probably averaging like, and I would say like probably like 5 to 6 days a week. I was probably putting in about, 7 to 8 hours of UT, every single day. And so after doing that for like 2 years, that's when I was just God mode. I was like, I was just really good. I remember when UT 2K3 came out, 2003. There was this one map that was called AOE Barn Burner, right? And it was Barn Burner. Let's see if we can find a video of it. Nah, this is not it. This looks like some sort of hybrid. Anyways, there was this one map that was called Barn Burner. All it was basically an open box. It was like there was really not, but there was like a couple. It was like a big square. It tilted at an angle, so it was like a diamond shaped. And you started in one corner of the diamond, and the enemy started in the other corner of the diamond. All there was, actually, this is it right here. And all there was, this is the 2K4. So this is a different version of Barn Burner, but this is a little bit different. But it was just a very, very small map. There was a couple boxes on each corner. I mean, the music of UT is so good. And this was a different version of the map. It was much bigger with more boxes in different parts. But it was just like the people who were God mode aim, had the best aim, are the ones who dominated. I dominated Barn Burner. Like, I would go in there and every shot I shot was like a headshot. It was like boom, dead, boom, dead, boom, dead. And Barn Burner, we typically played insta-give anyway. So it was one shot, one kill anyway, right? You hit somebody with insta-give, they're dead. It's a one shot, one kill. So that I was doing a lot of insta-give in 2001 to 2003. I was doing a lot of insta-give, but yeah, I was like FPS. I was like phenomenally good, like phenomenally. I can't tell you how good I was because I was that good. And then, but then like I discovered World of Warcraft. Like, I discovered World of Warcraft around 2000, whenever it was, like 2003. When did WoW come out? 2004. Well, I discovered WoW, and that was right at the end of me playing FPS games. I kind of had gotten to the point where I kind of was tired. I wasn't tired of FPS, but I was so good for so long, you just kind of get tired of killing everybody. You're tired of dominating, right? And so I started playing. That's why I discovered MMOs, and so I played MMOs. I played WoW for a long time, like 2004 to like 2000, maybe like 2008, 2009, and then at some point in time, Overwatch came out, right? Well, actually, it came out in 2016, so it wasn't really. I mean, there was a couple times, like in 2008, 2009, that my friend was playing Counter Strike, and he was on a team. He was like on a rated professional team in Counter Strike. He always tried to get me to come back and play Counter Strike and to play because he knew how good I was in Unreal, and he thought that I could come in and help his professional team out. And I always just said, look, I've been out of FPS for like a couple years, so I would come back and play like on and off, but never like enough to get back to the skills that I had. I didn't play enough, and the thing about FPS, here's the difference. FPS, like when I play WoW, I'm leaning back in my chair right now. I'm leaning back. I got my legs crossed, my right leg's crossed over my left leg. I can sit over here and drink my Coca-Cola. I'm totally chill, right? Totally chill. When I'm playing FPS, I'm sitting up in my chair. I spread my legs apart a little bit. My knees, my feet. Actually, what I do is I lower the chair a little bit, and my feet. I actually put my feet to where the tops of my feet are kind of, or like the sides of my feet are spread out. It's hard to explain, but I rest my feet in a very relaxed, kind of angled out, where my knees are kind of bent in and down, and I'm sitting straight up, my back straight, and so like my legs are kind of dead underneath me. You know what I mean? And but I'm really sitting straight up, so I'm very focused. Like everything's focused on the screen because I'm focused on my twitch reflex stuff. And if you've ever seen me play, you probably never seen me play UT, but I do. There's something I do that's kind of funny, right?
Of course, you know, it's going to come into play, trying to move quick.
So you'll see me like, here's Unreal, here's me just fucking around on, and this was like a video I made 9 years ago. So what was that? That was like 2016. So this was probably right around the time that Overwatch was coming out, which is probably why I went back in to do this. So what I did here was, this was a regimen that I would do to improve my aim when I was playing Unreal Tournament, right? What you do is you would go into Deck 16, you would put it on Deathmatch, and you would turn the bot skill up really high, and you would put it usually on, if you want to work on your headshots, you would put it on sniper rifle only, right? And so what you're doing, and what's good about Deck 16 is it has all these different angles and height and elevation. So you have to worry about people beneath you, people above you, and you put it on very fast mode. So it's all about increasing your ability to detect where the enemy is on the screen visually with your eyes, and being able to work on your twitch reflexes so that you can quickly snap your aiming cursor to whatever corner of the screen you have to get those headshots, right? And this is me trying to play a little bit after being gone from the game from years and years and years, and I was terrible. My aim was terrible, was gone. I hadn't played. I hadn't played in like 8-9 years or whatever, or who knows how long it had been. It'd been a long time.
Than you are in other parts of the map. Obviously, when you first start the map, you jump out. And I think I'm changing the game volume. You're going to move faster.
So, but notice it's all about game speed. Like, notice how fast the game is. Notice that my aiming cursor is just a little dot on the screen. That's all I want for my aiming cursor. I've got hidden weapon view. I don't want everyone to see my weapon. All I want to see is a little dot on my screen, and that's my aiming cursor, right? What's up, JP? Let me get to a safe spot here.
As you get more skilled at hitting the headshots, then start using the double tap left and right to do your dodges. That makes it even more difficult for the enemy to hit you. But again, it's going to make you move faster. Which
it was cut off because the music I was playing got the stream blocked. It was just for the music. And then I was like, at that point in time, I was ready to go to bed anyway. So
means your aim has to be even that much better to land your shots. So really, you know, a lot of people may disagree or agree with me, but for me, this is an excellent an excellent way to work on your twitch response and just your aiming in general. And a lot of those tools I've seen people using.
And you can see like how bouncy, and like a lot of people, like when they play FPS games, they go with a much more slow mouse sensitivity. So like, and they'll even have like bigger mouse pads. Like when you see like the best, like usually the best Counter-Strike players who had like the long distance aim, they usually had this fucking mouse pad that was like, you know, huge, because they were moving their arm a lot because their mouse sensitivity, like if you see my mouse cursor, can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. You see my mouse moving here? Like their mouse sensitivity was much slower. And because if it's slower, it's more precise, right? Like if I change my mouse sensitivity like to this, it's easier to be precise with the aiming, right? When it's slower. Like if I speed it up and it's fast, it's very difficult to be precise. The problem with that is if you're playing a game like Counter-Strike or any kind of a game where the movement of the enemies is fairly quick, you're gonna be lagging behind. It's gonna be difficult to get your cursor up to speed if people are moving very fast, especially if they get right on top of you and jump up over your head, where you have to rotate your camera up, over, and behind you quickly. Very difficult to do in a very, very fast-paced game like Unreal Tournament, Where in Unreal Tournament, I always play 135-35, which is 135 game speed, 35 air control, or 155-55, which is 155 game speed, 55 air control. Air control in Unreal Tournament means that when I jump up in the air, I have a little bit more ability to move my character left and right with some control. And of course, I usually play low gravity mod as well. So if I jumped up in the air, I would kind of float through the air. So going from Unreal Tournament to something like Counter-Strike was very difficult for me because I felt like I was walking through quicksand because you don't have that fast gauge movement and you don't have low gravity. So when you jump, you just immediately go right back down to the ground. Whereas so it's totally different in Unreal Tournament. So it's a completely different style of gameplay. That's why I never really transitioned to CS because I just hated the gameplay, and that's why I never really play any FPS game outside of something that has the kind of movement capabilities of like an Overwatch or a Gotham City Imposters. If you ever played that game, great game, or Unreal Tournament, right?
They're good tools. I mean, they are good tools. But to me,
but you can see how
if you just did what I'm doing here, it would cover the gamut. It would cover all of that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to do this.
What I was talking about here is when Overwatch came out, you saw a lot of videos come out talking about how to improve your aim. There were these videos where it was like they had these like little green dots and they moved around the screen. It was all this bullshit. And sure, what I was saying is sure they work, but what was good about this is this does more than just that. It's not just Twitch; it's recognition of where the enemy is. The important thing, like if you ever watched in the old days of Unreal Tournament, one of the all-time best Unreal Tournament players was Fatality, right? Fatality. And there was a conference, like a gaming conference once, where they had a rig set up, two computers set up facing each other, and it was challenge Fatality, right? You could sit down at the computer and do a deathmatch versus Fatality. I don't know if you guys remember Fatality. This is old school. I mean, this is back when there were motherboards that were branded, after I think Wendell. I think his name was Wendell. His last name. They were branded after Fatality, right? Fatality, FATA. Number one, right? The L was one, fatality. But I mean, so at this conference, people would challenge Fatality to a deathmatch, and out of all the people that challenged him, I think he only died once. Imagine a deathmatch where you have to kill someone, let's say like 15 times to win the deathmatch. He went through probably who knows how many he did. He died like once. So he won like 15-0 against everybody. And he's playing people that are good because people aren't going to a gaming conference for FPS if they're not good at FPS, right? But that guy was like sick. But if you ever watched him play, and I watched him play, the reason he was so good is that
and I would say do this
as soon as an enemy like appeared on the screen anywhere on your monitor, like even if it was just like 2 pixels to the left side of the screen appeared, his cursor was boom on their head, boom, and he fired. Like his visual recognition of where the enemy was, and as soon as they appeared on his monitor, boom, his cursor was on him. I mean, he was just so fast. And that's really, so this particular map, Deck 16, is really good for that.
Set it for 99.
The reason it's good is because of all the my mouse cursor speed's still fucked up. Hold on a second. Is because all of these, it's still fucked up. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think that's right. But it's because of all these little areas. Areas where the enemy could appear through, right?
Frag limit.
Like I could be here, there could be an enemy here, there could be one over here, there could be one here, there could be one up on the ramp here, one up on the ramp here. There could be one in the hallway to my left, one behind me. There could be one here, right behind me.
In your aiming and in your
when you see me moving the screen like that's what I was talking about. This is a little trick I do. When you see me like shaking the screen really fast, that's me trying to increase my brain synapses. Like what I'm doing there is I'm trying to get my brain to work faster, and I'm telling you, man, it fucking works. Like I'm not even joking. This is something that I used to do all the time, and it's like it's almost like I'm trying to wake up my muscles or wake up my nerves a little bit. You'll see me do this.
Dramatic increase in your aiming, and
see how I'm like shaking the screen. That's me just trying to get loose and trying to get my brain in the game. Basically, say, hey, get ready. You need to move quick. You know what I mean?
Your response. And of course, Overwatch is a different game. And in Overwatch, there isn't a lot of really this type of headshots. I mean, obviously Widowmaker, but she's got a charge.
And it's crazy. It's crazy when you watch this because it looks so weird. Like people who haven't played Unreal Tournament, it's weird. And when you get really good, I could talk about Unreal Tournament for years. when you get really good at, I mean, there's games where it just everything flows. It's like you don't even. It's like when you talk about people who like play basketball and they get in the zone, right? Or people who, you talk about people who get in the zone, like in basketball, and they just shoot and they can't miss. You get that's the same thing that happens in FPS games. In FPS games, you'll get in a zone where your hands and your eyes are moving and you don't even hardly realize it. And you're clicking and you're shooting and everything's a headshot. Everything's a fucking headshot. And I've been in the zone lots of times in an Unreal Tournament, and it's the greatest feeling. Like I used to do these death matches. I don't think I have any of those videos. I used to have tons of clips of me doing death matches. The problem is with Unreal Tournament, the old client, like there were so many mods that you could install, right? Like there's mods, and you could record the videos, the VODs or whatever. I can't remember what they were called back in the day. But the problem is to replay those, you have to have the server has to be running with the exact same mods to be able to play the video back. So if I'm running like a low gravity mod and I play a game and I record it, that file that's on my hard drive, if I try to go into Unreal Tournament and load that file and play it, I have to have the same mods running on the server. And through the years, you uninstall the game, and then when you reinstall the game, it doesn't tell you I don't think it tells you what mods you need when you try to load it. I don't know if I have any of those files anymore. Like I've got, I might have a few. Like I still have tons of old stuff from my days of being, a god Unreal Tournament player. Let's see. So you can see I've got an Unreal Tournament folder here. And some of these are, 2003, who knows? But, I still have the Unreal Tournament installers and stuff like that. I don't know if I have the base installer. I just threw away the CDs, but you can usually find the Unreal Tournament 99. Here's the installer right here. So actually, no, that's the patch. That's not the entire game, but you can usually find the installer for Unreal Tournament online. It's usually not that difficult to find. Screenshots. See, I don't see any dem files. It might be on my other computer, which is mine here, which I need to check. But if you go to like UT screenshots, you can see, and you can see that, these are like 640 by 480 resolution because that's what it was back in the day, right? But let's see here. Here's like, and the cool thing about Unreal Tournament is you could change your name every time you wanted to go to a server. You could change your alias every single time. So you just go into the server and you say, oh, here's my profile. I just want to call myself Cranial Assault, and then you log into the server and that's your name. So people always alias like all the time. So you never knew. Like a lot of times you could be playing some of the best players in the world, and you never knew it because they would change their alias all the time. And I had all kinds of aliases that I used, right? Cranial Assault. Angst was. This is when I was doing. This is when I first started doing Instagib. Instagib capture the flags, which I was still like. I mean, even though my score was number 1 in the game here, I still wasn't very good. Like I was still very new to that game mode, right? Like here, pain. I mean, look at the score, 131. No one's even fucking close to me, right? Like here, like I said, I wasn't. This guy was the best. This guy, Avi, DSK, this was a guild I was in, DSK. I can't remember what it stands for. It's been so long. But I remember Avi was like, he was like the best. I used like the Ultras, Snake Eyes. I used to fight these guys 1v1, and I dominated these guys for probably like 2 years. Like I used to beat the shit out of these guys. So much so that they hated me. They hated me. Ultras was my fanboy. Ultras would follow me around, and he would talk me, he would tell everybody how good I was. He was like my own personal fanboy. And the funny part is I played Unreal Tournament. I was so good, and I had this like just mystique, where people like knew how good I was. Then I quit. I quit the game, right? And I came back like years later, like 2 years later, and then all the people that I used to just absolutely wipe up the game with, like just kick their ass, they were so much better, and I hadn't played in 2 years. I wasn't as good. So then when I played them, they would like beat me, or it would be pretty even. And they would start talking trash. And I'm like, dude, you're talking trash. You've been playing for 2 years. I haven't played in 2 years. And now after 2 years of playing with me, not playing, you finally are good enough to maybe almost beat me, and you're talking trash? I was like, it used to piss me off. But this guy, Avi guy, oh my God. His aim ability was unreal. He was one of the best players I ever saw. And you can see it here in his score. I mean, Jesus, 232, right? That's 232 kills, right? This is one of the interesting screenshots I have because it's cool because it shows some of the old like servers from way back in the day. The Petron Living Group Facing Worlds. Facing Worlds is the one we always played. It was like pretty much everybody's favorite map. But Sexy Mandy, Gem, Sexy Mandy, Sexy Mandy. Oh, this is my favorite. Sugar Honey Glow. I just try to come up with the stupidest names, right? So I started calling myself Sugar Honey. It was one of my aliases, Sugar Honey Glow, Sexy Mandy, Afterlife. These are all FPS. See, my scores aren't great in these because these are all capture the flag Insta-Gib 155. So I wasn't very, at the time, I wasn't that good at this game mode. Even though I still did good, it wasn't like what I was best at. You know, I was best at 135-35. So, yeah. I don't know. So those are mostly like that. And then you go to see screenshots. And then these are like when you get into like 3K, which is, you know, whatever. Here's like there's the mode I was good at, which was the capture the flag, all weapons capture the flag, or low gravity rockets only, which is my best weapon was rockets. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Unbeliever, another name. Gravity was really good. Yeah, you can see I knew by the score that he wasn't in the game the whole time because of how good this guy was. This guy was phenomenally good. He was only in the game 17 minutes. I was in the game 29 minutes. So if you do the math, we probably were about the same, like kill point wise, probably. But pain. And then whenever I would win a match, oh look this one. Oh, I looked. I said screenshot taking pussy because I hated. There were some guys on the other team that were giving me shit, and I remember I was pissed, and so I was so mad. We had a game and it was really close, and we ended up winning 2-1. But I pretty much was the dominating player in the game with 102 kills. No one else was even close, and I was pissed off. I go screenshot take it pussy because that was kind of like your claim to fame back in the old days of FPS. Is you would take the screenshots and you would have your library of screenshots. And if anybody ever tried to talk shit, you could just pull up all these screenshots and say, "Look at all these games where I've kicked your ass." And that was, and they couldn't do that. They couldn't pull up screenshots saying they kicked my ass because those screenshots didn't fucking exist. You know what I mean? They didn't exist, except for people that try to Photoshop it, which was always funny. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, so the point is, like you said, you were talking about Zelt. You were talking about playing FPS. I don't really want to go back to FPS because of the type of FPS I played. I played Unreal Tournament in a very fast game mode, and there aren't very many FPS games that are that type of speed. You know what I mean? They're not like this.
But
They're not like super fast play, right? And this is not low gravity either. This is regular gravity here. You can see it's just regular grav, right? But what's funny in this video here is even the video is only 13 minutes long, and you'll see like even in just the 13-minute span of me not having played the game in like 8 years or however long it was, even in just that 13 minutes, my aim was getting better. Over just 13 minutes, my aim started to get better. Like I was getting killed a lot in the beginning, and all of a sudden I went into a stretch where I was just like, you know, boom, headshot, 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 where I headshot like 3 or 4 guys in a row. And you could just see my aim was getting better. Imagine that was just 13 minutes. Imagine me playing 8 hours a day every single day for 2 years. You know, and these bots are set to a very, very high skill. So, and everybody's got a sniper rifle. So, you know, headshot, headshot, headshot. So there, I just killed like 4 or 5 guys in a row here, right? And they're all pretty much headshots, right? And so I started off with these guys, but again, that's a great way to improve your aim and your twitch responses to play Dex 16. Put the bots at a really high skill level. Put a lot of bots in the game so that there's a lot of enemies all around you all the time. And that's one of the things that I see. The other thing is there was Morpheus training. There's a shock rifle combo. You know, Unreal Tournament was the shit. I mean, it was, in my mind, it's the great. It's still, like when people say to me, they say, "Cap, what's your favorite video game of all time?" It's not even a question. Like, it's not even a question. It's Unreal Tournament. It's not even close. Nothing in my mind will ever top. I don't think will ever top Unreal Tournament in my book. That's how much I loved that game, right? That was I'll go to my grave saying that this was the greatest game I ever played. So Morpheus was a really cool map, and it was really the shock rifle map. And I don't know if we'll be able to find it because it's so old, right? It's so old, but Morpheus was really. Let's see. Here's what 10,000 hours of Unreal Tournament looks like. Now, see, look, he's doing deck 16, right? But notice the game speed. Watch. See how slow it is? And I don't know what he's talking about. This guy sucks. I can tell just by right now this guy's any good. If he's played 10,000 hours of Unreal and this is how he aims, I mean, his cursor movement's way too slow. You see how he's not keeping his cursor on the targets? Also, his resting spot for the cursor is way too low. The resting spot should be up higher because you want to be aiming towards the head. See how his cursor is low and he has to raise it up to get to head level? Yeah, this guy's terrible. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. This is what shitty gameplay looks like. That's what that looks like. Do we have? I'm looking for. Do we have more? I don't see Morpheus. Look at this. Oh my god. I don't think I have it. Let's see. Unreal. Yeah, see, you can almost always find the Game of the Year installer. Let's just scan this really quick. Where's my scan? Nah. What was the folder? Oh, users download. I miss having the other scanning software I had, you know. Does this even work? Did it even scan anything? Okay, no current threats. I guess I guess it just scanned it like that fucking fast, right? Yeah. The problem is it's really hard to play Unreal Tournament. Like, it's hard to play this game on a newer computer. I mean, it just crashes. Like, it's very difficult to play on a modern computer. Um, I'm trying to think. What's my slowest hard drive? we want to install it to like the slowest hard drive. Oh man. Actually C. How big is my C drive anyway? See what you guys do. You got me on a complete tangent. It's all Zelch's fault for talking about FPS. But you see how much I love FPS. I'm a huge lover of FPS. All right, let's do this. Let's go. We're gonna just go see Unreal Tournament. That's fine, right? What is this? Oh, it has to download? Okay, this is scary. I have no idea what's going on. It's actually downloading the files. Okay, so this is a really small. Oof, that's kind of scary. I didn't like that I had to download a bunch of shit. Here, let's scan this again. Okay, it's not finding any threads. I didn't like how it downloaded that. All right, so I don't know if this, it may not run. Let's see. I don't know if it needs to know CD patch. The Unreal Tournament, like, you know, obviously it was a CD. So it used to be when you installed Unreal Tournament, it looked to your CD-ROM drive for the actual CD. So you try to do a full install, and then you had to install a patch to the exe, which was called a no CD patch. That way it didn't look for the CD to be in your CD-ROM drive. And of course I have that. I mean, I've had that forever. I'll never throw in my Unreal Tournament patch files. But let's go in here and let's just see if it runs. I don't know this version. Maybe it already has something like that. But let's take a look. Let's try OpenGL. Jesus, I have no cursor, low definition mouse input. This mode limits 400 DPI, direct input, high definition mouse input, and raw input. This mode allows the mouse to perform movements at a higher DPI and is not subject to Windows pointer acceleration. This is a recommended mode for modern hardware. Okay. This almost looks like a different version of the installer. Because normally I'm not used to seeing that. The other problem, too, that we run into is getting this game to work. Hold on a second. I ran this problem before where it's hard to, like, for some reason, like, the streaming software doesn't pick up. You guys aren't going to see anything, but I just want to see if it works. I don't know which maps they have. I'm going to see if they have Morpheus. Yeah, they do. And what I'll do is... Let me see if I can add a... Let me see if I can add a different capture device. We want to add a display capture. Nah, that's not what we want. We want game capture. I hardly ever do this, where we have to like capture an actual application. Video capture. I should have this on here already. No, we don't want that. Yeah, it's still not working. Ah. Let me add... Oh, game capture. Here it is. Game capture. Okay. Capture any full screen application. See, this shit ain't working either. Man! Yeah, why then this shit doesn't work? Alright, well, fuck it. Well, fuck it. I give up. Let's go back to WoW. Let's just go back to what we were doing. Oh man. But there is like it's always weird when you for some reason when I try to capture like a video game that's running in full screen mode. Yeah, I always have trouble getting that to capture correctly, but I've done it before, but I was that same thing when I was trying to stream Skyrim. It was really a pain to get to just stream Skyrim. I can't remember and I set it up and I had it working, so I'm kind of surprised that I don't have let's see. That I don't already have a capture device that'll work for that. But anyways, now it looks like my stream, hopefully the stream is showing WoW again. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, cool. But anyways, yeah, on that big tangent, like Unreal Tournament was my shit, right? That was my jam. That was like I said, I was pretty much that was my game. I was so dominant on. And I've told this story before, but the reason, like, you guys have seen me play World of Warcraft, you've seen me play MMOs. In WoW, a lot of times, like my account name, one of my account names in World of Warcraft is Shady Hacks. That comes from an Unreal Tournament because I used to get banned all the time. I'd go to servers I'd never played on before, and I was so good that people would always think I was cheating. They would think I was aimbotting, so they would ban me on their server, and they would say stuff like, "Oh, that guy's hacking. That guy's hacking. Ban him." And if the server admin happened to be in the server, he would just ban me because he just would assume that I was botting because I was so good, but I wasn't botting. I was just that good. So I got banned a lot. So on people's servers, which I always thought was funny. I never got banned on my primary servers that I played on because I started playing on those servers when I wasn't that good, and so people knew me and they knew I was that good because they saw me when I had just started out and they saw the progression of how I had gone through getting, better and better until I was to where I was, at God mode and I was that good. So they knew who I was and they just knew I was that good. So the primary servers I played on, I never got banned on. But when I tried to go to other servers in the server browser in Unreal Tournament, a lot of times I would get banned and people would always say, "Oh, you're doing something shady or you're hacking." And so that's where I came up with the name Shady Hacks. That came from Unreal Tournament where people saying I was shady or people saying I'm hacking. And so then I kind of made a play of words and said that my character, that my name is Shady Hacks, and because my name is Shady and I hack, so Shady Hacks. You know what I mean? That was kind of a play on words. So that's where that name actually came from. It came from Unreal Tournament. So, but the thing is, I had been out of FPS for a long time, and I tried to come back a couple times, but it's very difficult when you're like that good to step away from an FPS game and be gone, and then be gone for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then come back in because you want to be as good as you were. It's like that in anything you ever excel at. If you're really good at something and then you kind of suck at it, it's hard to suck at something that you once were dominant at. Same thing in tennis. Like I used to be a really good tennis player, and then I quit playing tennis for like a long time. And then when I tried to go back and play, I wasn't as good. It's very difficult to do that because you're so used to being so good, and to get back to where you were, sometimes it's almost harder than to get there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like it only took me like 6 months. I was lucky enough that when I first started playing Unreal Tournament to be discovered by a player named Fury, who recognized, I guess he must have recognized that I had potential because he invited me to the Obi-Wan server. And Obi-Wan's was like the server, man. Obi-Wan was this player that was obviously, his name was a cool name, right? Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was really good. And Obi-Wan had a server called Obi-Wan server, and it was up for years. And it was where most of the really good players that I started playing with played. Fury found me on some other server because the good players always had their favorite servers, but they would always jump out to different servers for fun just to try different servers because different servers ran different mods and stuff. And so Fury caught me in a game, and I wasn't playing low grab. I was playing like all weapons, regular speed, all weapons. Um, and he saw me in one of the games, and I guess he saw something in me that thought, because I wasn't that good back then, so I was really surprised. But he said, you should try this. He said, you should try this other server, right? You should try this other server, Obi-Wan server. And I said, okay. And he goes, but it's a different game mode. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, it's faster game speed and it's low grab. So I say, okay. So I went to this other server. And when you when you haven't played some of those game modes, you're not any good at it. And when I went to Obi-Wan server, everybody was so good. Imagine like thinking you're good. I thought I was good at Unreal Tournament. Like I thought I was really good, but that was just the regular game mode, regular game speed. I went to, I would play a regular game mode on a server called, it was my friend's server. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Q server. It was called Q server. And Q ran a couple servers. He ran a low gravity one and a non-low gravity one. And Q was my first person I met in Unreal Tournament that kind of showed me how to play the game. Like he taught me kind of the ropes of how to be good at Unreal Tournament, right? And he was good. He was real good. And so Fury found me on Q server, invited me to come to Obi-Wan server. So imagine going from Q server where I would score on the top 2 or 3 players on the server. Then I went to Obi-Wan server. The first game I played on Obi-Wan server, I didn't get a single frag. I didn't get a single point. The scoreboard was like, 4 people on each team. Top players had like 30, 40 frags. The second, maybe 20. The third, like in the 15s. Then you have someone with 8 or 9 frags. And you had me, 0. These guys were so good. They just blew my mind. I couldn't believe how good they were. I was like, what the hell's just happened? And which again, which I always thought that was weird that Fury invited me there because I'm like, obviously I was nothing compared to those guys, right? But he saw something in me. I don't know what he saw, but he saw something. And I was like, it was like somebody slapped me in the face. I was like, it woke me up. It woke me up and said, hey, because I thought I was pretty good, but it woke me up and said, you ain't shit. Like it woke me up and said, hey, you're nothing, man. You're garbage. And if anybody knows my personality, I am extremely competitive, like very competitive. So when that happened to me, the only thing in my mind was, I got to beat these guys, right? Like all I could think of for the next 6 months was getting good enough to beat those guys. And so all I did was play on Obi-Wan server for the next 6 months. And after about 3 months, I think it took about a month of playing on there to where I could get like maybe 3, 4, 5 kills in a game. And then after about a month, and after 3 months, I'd be finishing, third on the list, maybe third, maybe I'd be getting like 20 kills or something. Then after 6 months, I was starting to finish near the top of the server in kills. And there was only a few people after 6 months that were better on the server than me. And you need to keep in mind, these guys are like, they're unbelievable. I mean, they're unbelievable players. They're like, you talk about God mode. These guys were all God players, right? They were that good. And I remember there was a couple of guys that played there that were real arrogant. They had really big egos. And they were always really mean to other players, But I mean, back then, this was like, they were trash talkers, right? They would trash talk. And one of the guys' name was Sephiroth, right? His name was Sephiroth. And he used to trash talk me to no end, right? He trash talked everybody. But he used to trash talk me. and he was good. You know, he usually killed me one-on-ones. He usually killed me because he was just that. You know, he was really good. And but I'll never forget like 6, 7, 8, 9 years later, after I'd long since quit playing the game, I remember seeing Sephiroth in a forum, the UT99 forum. There's a forum out there, bulletin board or a forum called like UT99, I think, and I remember finding like posting something there, just like, and you can still probably find it to this day, right? If you do a search for my nickname in Unreal Tournament, Elaine Tricond, which is a character from a book, right? If you do a search for this name, you might still be able to find it. I don't know. I don't know. It's so old now. It doesn't look like I can find it anymore. Used to be that I could search for that and I'd find it. Here, let's do this, and then let's do UT99. Yep, here it is, and here it is, right? And so here is actually a post I did on the Unreal Tournament community. This board, UT99.org, has been up for as long as I can remember, right? This board's been up, and like, whoever maintains this. So I put this post on this forum in 2011, right? So this is 2011, so this is like 14 years ago. And it's a long post. As you know, you guys know I'm pretty wordy. I'm good at talking a lot. Diarrhea of the mouth, whatever, I don't know. I put this post that I played UT99 back in the days, aka 1999 to 2003. And then I basically said I went through the history of me. Q server, Obi-Wan server, clans I was part of, aliases, the blessing of anonymity. And I said I thought it'd be fun to list some of my more favorite aliases. Mountain Dew, Cranial Assault, iRobot, Afterlife, Forbidden, Angst, Deity, Oh My Fucking God, Shut the Fuck Up, Lucid, Sugar Honey, and of course, Death Striker 666, inspired by the Pure Owners guys. Friends and mentors, people who shaped me as a player, Q, Fury, and then I put the B4M boys, Sephiroth, Unforgiven, Blind Fury, all three of some of the best players I ever saw in the game. And then the guy who helped me instigate was Pestilence, DSK Pestilence. And what was funny is I posted this, and then all of a sudden, where is it? Lo and behold, who posts 3 years later? 3 years later, who posts on this thread? Sephiroth. And I said in my post, I said the B4M boys, and he posts and he says, "You're welcome, little buddy." He said, "P.S. I'm the best player UT ever." And this is what he would say. Like, whenever I played games with Sephiroth, he had an emote like that he would spam in game, and it just always said, "I'm the best player in UT ever." And he would say that after games where he dominated, and he dominated most of them because he was really good. And so it's just great to see him say that. And he's, you know, I said thanks to the B4M boys, and he goes, "You're welcome, little buddy." But what was cool is he used to give me a lot of shit. He used to give me a lot of shit on that server, but it was years later I actually ended up talking to him, and he said that I was one of the most impressive players he ever came across, not because I was better than those guys, because really I was kind of at their level at the end. But the reason he said I was the most impressive is that they had been playing the game for years, right? Like the game came out in like, I don't know, 1999, but they came from before Unreal Tournament had the Unreal Tournament version. You know, they'd come from other games. They'd been playing FPS. They'd played the regular version. I didn't have any of that experience. Like, Unreal Tournament was the first FPS I'd ever played, and that I got onto that server, and he said within just a few months, like 3 months to 6 months, I was as good or better than most of the players he ran into. He said that's why I was so impressive. He said most players that came into those servers, it took them years to get to that level, to get to be that good. He said, he said I did it in just like 3 to 6 months. And he said that's why. And he said I was pretty much, and everybody knew who I was. But you know, it's like the upstart. You know what I mean? It's like when you have the old dogs, right? And they're really good, and they see that young upstart. They know eventually the young upstart's going to be better than them. So they want to knock him down as much as they can to try to slow down his ascent. I think that's how they treated me. They're like, well, this guy's really good. We know he's going to be really good, but we're going to be real dicks to him because we don't want him to be better than us. I think that's how they treated me, you know, like this, we know this guy's fucking good. Oh man, good times. But yeah, yeah, will always be my favorite game of all time, Unreal Tournament, without a doubt. Not even close. But I still have amazing twitch reflexes, and I can still, you know, if I really put in the time, I'm sure I could be good at FPS again, but it would take time. And the thing about it is, the reason I don't play FPS is because it's so much more stressful. Like MMOs is a relaxing thing. Like I play MMOs to relax and wind down from the work and working and all that. So, but when you go in and you play like an FPS, it's not a relaxing thing. You're very tense. You're focusing on you're really heavily focused on the screen. Your twitch reflexes have to be top notch. It's intensive. Like if you ever play like 4 or 5 hours of very intense FPS, it wears you out. It much more so. Like I could play 8, 9, 10 hours of WoW straight, and I'm tired, but it's not the same. I could play 2 hours of really hardcore FPS and be more tired than those 10 hours of playing World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? So it's a completely different type of gameplay, and that's the biggest reason why I don't want to get into FPS anymore, because I don't want to have to put out that kind of effort. You know, it's a lot of effort, and it's a lot of training, and it's a lot of time investment of working on your aim, getting your aim down. You know, I knew down to the minute of the day almost like what time of day I performed best. You know, you had a routine. You'd like get up at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, and you drink a couple sodas and you know play 2 or 3 games, and you knew that right around I knew for me anyways right around 9:30 to 10 a.m. was my peak. That's when I seemed to have the most focus and my reflexes were at their best. You know, my body had woken up. I'd gotten a little bit of caffeine in me, played a couple practice games, and that's when I knew I was ready to rock and roll. You know, and it wasn't just FPS games. There was a fantasy coin-op video game in my dorm room in college that was based on some Twitch reflexes, and I remember it was a very difficult game, and I remember it was the same thing in that game. I remember when I got up and when I played that game, I had my best results doing through complicated like you know melee style combat. It's almost like an action RPG as a coin-op game. I remember my best results in that game were usually when I played around 9:30 to 10 a.m. So for whatever reason, that was the time of day when I was at my peak. You know. But I would tell you, Zelch, and anybody, like I would go back and play an FPS, but it would have to be like a Overwatch style. Like when Overwatch came out, I was floored. I was not expecting the Overwatch. I was super stoked for Overwatch. It was like somebody saying, "Hey, here's a game that's kind of like Unreal Tournament that you can play." You know, this is something that could get me back into FPS. I was very excited. And if you go to my channel, you know, there's 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 videos of me playing, right? Me playing Overwatch. Let's see, Overwatch. One of the things that I did a video here, which which was always funny because I was like because I played Unreal Tournament and because I played like very fast game speed. I did what I did a lot of snapshots where I was moving the cursor very quickly, and I used a very high sensitivity, so much higher than most people. Like in Unreal Tournament, most people like were down around like 1 to 1.5 mouse sensitivity. I was up around like 3.3, 3.5, so I was like more than double. So basically, my mouse cursor was moving. When I moved my mouse, it was moving across the screen much faster than most players. That made my long distance shots not quite as accurate. You know, when the enemy was so far away that all I could see was about 10 pixels on the screen, those shots were more difficult to land because you have to be so precise. But people could never get in close to me and get around me, like jump over my head and do those quick because I could always track them. And so in close, I was better than most people because of that. But at a distance, like a really far distance, but I never worried about that because my gameplay wasn't focused on long distance shots. It was focused on getting in close and taking people out and you know carrying the flag, returning the flag, that kind of stuff. So, but when I played Overwatch, I still was trying to figure out what was my sensitivity going to be, what DPI am I going to be using. So in this particular video, I was just playing around with it, and I was using 400 DPI at 62.17 sensitivity, and even this guy says it's a joke. You're never playing so high in game. And I responded, I said, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. I said, I played quite a while with that sensitivity. Even had compliments in games from other players saying I was a very good Widowmaker, which I did. I had a lot of people compliment my Widowmaker in the beginning of Overwatch when it was still in its infancy, like the first 3, 4, 5 months. And this guy goes, those shots look fake. You don't aim to the head, and they seem like they are headshots, which I think is hilarious. He goes, those shots look fake. Once again, it's almost like someone's accusing me of cheating, which that's, is not nothing I'm not used to. You know what I mean? And I said, yes, the reason it seems like I'm not aiming at the head is that with this DPI, I don't really track. It's more of a slight flick shot. And you can see it in the video. Like, I'm not really, like, when I got pretty good at counter at Overwatch with the characters, when I started getting really good with tracking, because the really best players in Overwatch could track really well. And what I mean by tracking is you can just keep the cursor on the target. You can keep the cursor on someone's head or whatever. And it's just really just called tracking. But in the beginning, this was still early. I hadn't really gotten the tracking down yet, so I was doing more of just my kind of flick shots, where I'm just basically tracking the cursor close enough to the enemy's head, and then when I wanted to go for the shot, I would do a slight, quick twitch with my wrist just to get the cursor to where I wanted it to be. It's a very common thing in Unreal Tournament to do what's called a flick shot, and what that is when you're in an FPS like Unreal Tournament that's a fast-paced game, you might have people who are flying in across the screen. You don't have time to track them because you're moving this direction and you've got a guy in front of me and he's trying to kill you and you're moving like this, making sure that you're kind of staggering your movement so he can't hit you. You know what I mean? You're trying to stagger your movement. And then he's in front of you, so you might be shooting at this guy here. Well, then somebody might fly into the right side of your screen. You may do a quick, flick like this, where you're just flicking your cursor over to do a quick shot at this guy. So you're not tracking him. You're not even tracking the guy in front of you because you're so worried about making sure that you're moving in a way that you're not going to get hit. So you're moving in a way that you're not going to get hit, and then you're going to also be aiming. But it's not so much tracking because you really can't. It's hard to move in Unreal Tournament at a high degree of skill level and track really well. I mean, you can do it. Like you can definitely do it. But I guess there's just different types of ways to look at it. And this video, I wasn't really tracking. I was just working on my flick shot, right? Notice the name, Shady Hags. And so when you watch the cursor, I'm not really tracking that well. You can see, and if I do it in slow motion, you'll see it's more of a flick shot, right? You see, watch the cursor. Actually, that's still too fast, isn't it? Playback speed. Just watch the aiming cursor. All right, reload. So the cursor, I'm like, zoom in. See, the cursor's not really on anybody's head. You see how the cursor kind of jerked up to the left? Watch here. So it's like down to the right. Now it jerks up to the right. Missed. Now it's going to jerk up to the left, right there. It jerks to the left a little bit. And you'll see me track back to the right and then jerk up to the left, right there. A little bit missed. And then final shot. Just slight movement to the right. This is at, obviously playback speed of 0.25. So it looks odd, right? Now watch it in normal speed. So I'm not tracking. Like the really good players, they would have the cursor on the person's head the entire time, or try to. But for a sniper, you don't really need to do that. You just need to identify the target and flick the cursor onto their head and make the shot and hit them in the head. You just need to get that shot pulled off. If you're doing something like Soldier 76, where you're doing a repeat fire weapon, like an automatic weapon, you're firing multiple shots over and over again, so you want to track, meaning your cursor needs to be on their head every single shot. Then you're tracking, so your cursor is going to stay on the target. With a sniper rifle, you don't necessarily need to do that. It's a different type of but a lot of people probably still would try to do that, but it's not really necessary. All right. Mm-hmm. I'm on fire. But my best character in was Pharah, man. Like I was like top 10% in the United States in Pharah, like on kills. I was always top 0.2%, like on deaths, because I never died. Like And that comes from Unreal Tournament. Like Unreal Tournament, one thing that Unreal Tournament, like the game mode I played, taught me was how to move. It teaches you how to move. Because to be good in Unreal Tournament, to be God mode in Unreal Tournament, on like 135, 35, or 155 game speed, you have to be able to move in a way that you're not getting hit. The best FPS players know how to move so that you're missing them, right? That's a skill unto its own that most people overlook. There's two skills. One's knowing how, there's a bunch of skills to FPS, but the base skills are knowing how to move in a way that's hard for people to hit you, which is a skill, a really good skill that a lot of people aren't good at it. And then obviously the next skill is having good aim so that you can hit what you're aiming at. But in Overwatch, I was always like, when you look at the numbers, and you can't look at those numbers anymore, I don't think, but when I would look at the numbers, I'd always say, oh, where do I rank on this character in kills? And I'd always be like, oh, you're like top 10% in the US, which kind of sucks. I'm like, only top 10%? I'm better than like 90% of the players, right? But when I looked at deaths, I was always like top 2, top 1%. Like I was like better than like 99% of the players in the United States because that's how little I died. I never died, you know? Where's my Overwatch? Here, like, oh my god, I'm addicted to Widowmaker. One shot, one kill. Soldier 76 set. Let's check this one out.
I've got you in my sights. Target rich environment.
Just a lame highlight, but Soldier 76 stuff. Where's the montage I had? Farah. More Farah. Soldier 76. Overall Farah gameplay by Shady Hacks. Let's check this one out. Oh, here's a montage I did. There you go. My favorite characters were Widowmaker and Farah. And Soldier 76, probably. Yeah, it was, yeah. That's funny. That was funny. Is this the one? Is this the one? Yeah. This is the one where this team did a rush. Like they get behind the shield and they try to rush. And I almost took out, I think, watch this. This is where the whole team's rushing in, like as a coordinated assault. I was so close to taking out the entire team. Look at with my knockback rocket. Look at that. I killed. I certainly broke their assault on that one, though. Would have been so cool if I could have killed all of them. This was a sneak attack. Quadruple kill. I basically just wiped out almost their entire team right there. They were like, under the shield once again, trying to finish and win the game, and I basically just annihilated their attempt to finish the game right there. But out of all the clips, this is the best clip. This clip here is the best clip. This shows you how to play Farah. Like, a lot of people don't know how to play Farah. Like, this really shows you the strength of Farah, because what you're doing is you're using the rockets you're using splash damage. And the skill of playing, the reason I was good at Farah is because the skill came from Unreal Tournament. Because I was one of the best rocket players in Unreal Tournament, and rockets only is a game mode that I played all the time. Rockets in Unreal Tournament are extremely similar to Farah's rockets because they do a lot of splash damage. So if someone's standing next to a wall, I don't have to hit them with the rocket. I can just shoot the wall, because the walls, once the wall explodes, the splash damage is going to hit them. So Farah, and also the rockets have a nice knock knockback, which they do in Unreal Tournament as well. So the people who made Overwatch definitely looked at Unreal Tournament. There's no doubt about it. They looked at some of the weapons in Unreal Tournament and took some of the gameplay mechanics. They would have been stupid not to. Yeah, so really it's funny that I think of the way I play MMOs is the way I like to play FPS. I like to play what I like to call a disruptor type play style. And what I mean by that is I want to be in there knocking people around and disrupting what they're trying to do. That's the same thing I love to do on Protection Paladins in like PvP and like Wrath Lich King. I like to be like a disruptor. I want to go in there and just smack people in the face and make it hard for them to do what they're trying to do. I can stun them. I can interrupt them. I'm hard to kill because I'm a Protection Paladin. Same thing I did with a Protection Warrior in retail. I had what I called my disruptor build, where I would just go in the middle of combat and try to just disrupt stuff and basically be annoying. And the same thing with Pharah. If you watch here, that's what you're doing. You're just knocking people around. You're preventing them from really from aiming. Like, they can't really aim if you're hitting them and knocking them in the air. See how I'm just like constantly knocking the people around? And notice I'm using the walls for slat. Like, that guy came through the middle. I didn't aim at him. I aimed right at this wall because I knew hitting the wall, he's going to take a lot of damage. Yeah, but that clip really shows you how to play Pharah. And also that clip shows you how I always seek cover when I reload. When I reload, always seek cover. Again, this is another example, exactly what I'm talking about, disruptor. Notice how I use my knockback rocket in tandem with my regular rockets to keep this person just bouncing all over the place so they can't do anything. They're completely on the defensive the entire time. Watch, I'm going to rocket, I'm going to hit him with a rocket, then I'm going to hit him with my knockback rocket, which throws him in the air. Then I'm just going to follow up with another rocket. It's just the splash damage is, I mean, if you're this character, you're probably sitting there going, what the fuck? Like, you have no chance, right? No chance. Boom, 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 boom. Constant. Just constant barrage. Constant pressure. Watch when I reload. If I do reload on this one, it'll... Operating at maximum efficiency. I loved Overwatch. I thought Overwatch it was. Overwatch when it came out was one of the best FPSs. I would put it as the second best FPS ever made. For me anyway, personally for me, behind Unreal Tournament.
Experience
Tranquility. I knocked him off the map. I like that clip because you see me shooting through the open windows because there's people that were floating up there to shoot. So I'm just throwing rockets through openings to make sure nobody's like sneaking a peek through there.
Justice reigns from above. Nice shot.
How many are there? Is there more? There's more. This is one of my favorite maps. This map is one of my favorite maps. The cool thing too about Pharah is such a great support class because she offers like such good cover fire. Like she can protect the flank. She can also push through. Like there was a choke point where we're trying to push the payload to the end, and we're really near the end. But that end is really tough because people always set up like a Torborn with a turret near the end, so it's really difficult to push through. Pharah actually provides a lot of firepower to like push through like a choke point. Like right there, you can see people trying to come through that little doorway, and I'm just throwing rockets through there, and people are coming through just catching rockets in the face. So very difficult for them to do what they want to do. Justice reigns. What is this one? Oh yeah, Torborn face roll, mushy roll is. What is it? Is it Torborn? Let's see what this one is. Wasn't much of a play of the game. Torborn is actually really good though. He's a really good one. Pharah, Eichenwald. This was the new map they put in.
Justice reigns from above.
Ooh. Ooh, you always gotta love the quadruple kill. Oh, you gotta love it. I can't believe I watched that whole thing sitting right here. I could have got my hardcore character killed just sitting here. Oh. Quadruple kill. See what happened? You cannot get my FPS juices flowing, man. I am so competitive. If a FPS came out, it has to be a team shooter. Like for an FPS to come out to get me to play it, it's got to be a team shooter. It has to have movement. It has to have very fast movement abilities, meaning like, flying capability or like a grappling hook, roller skates, something that allows you to move around quickly. Because I will never play a game like Counter-Strike where I feel like I'm stuck in the mud because you're just like doing this. Oh, I'm gonna go shoot you. Oh, now I'm gonna crouch, right, and shoot, and then I'm gonna jump up, and then I'm gonna crouch, and I'm gonna jump up, and then there ain't no fucking way I'm gonna play a game like that. I'd rather have someone shoot me in the head than deal with that kind of crap. I just had to finish this quest. I think we just need a... Let's see. Oh man, my pet is fucking hungry. So we got one healing potion from a chest. So we actually have one healing potion that we can use. Because I'm not going to let myself use healing potions other than ones that come from chests. So we got to get rid of the 3 of these and just keep one. We'll eat fish too, right? I like kitties because they eat fish. Damn, fucking... I can't believe you guys got me on that tangent. I don't like getting on a tangent like that. Like the fucking 30-minute tangent. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, but we did get... I'm super pumped, though. We do have a weapon. I mean, it's probably not... I don't know how much damage it's doing. It's got to be better than my fists, right? We're doing 6 DPS per second. If we get rid of the weapon... Well, we can't really get rid of the weapon. We don't have any room. It's got to be better than fists, though, right? Oh, we can do our Raptor Strike, though. That's the difference. Six. Alright, finally finished that quest.
How may I help?
It's worth 67 copper. There we go. Give me that.
Good luck, friend.
Ooh, level 13. I didn't even know we're that close. Yeah, we got to go hit the trainer because we actually have, now that we've got a weapon that we got from that chest, I have some ranks, 1 rank, maybe even 2 ranks of Raptor Strike we can learn. And we might even have Wing Clip as well, so. That's pretty cool. I mean, it is nice to have a weapon because now we can actually use our abilities. I mean, we don't have to just punch people anymore. We can actually use Raptor Strike and Wing Clip. Look at that, 28 damage. Nice! The war is slain by a PvP. Weird. I gotta tell you, when I looted that chest, I did not think it was gonna have a weapon in it. You don't normally... I don't think it was gonna have a weapon in it, so I was pretty excited. Let's see. A lot of people dying. A lot of deaths. Is there any more? No. Yeah, but you can see my damage now is 42%. It was before I got that dagger. It was as bad as like down to 20% of overall damage. My pet was actually doing like 80% of my damage. So just getting that dagger has increased my damage like quite a bit. So hey Vols, you still there? My the project we've been working at work for like the last year and a half. Um, is like down to like the final like 2 weeks, and boy, the shit's just hitting the fan, man. Like everybody's like panicking because they don't think, we don't have enough time to finish everything, and no, they're not willing to give us more time because I guess they already extended our deadline, I think, a couple times. But I mean, we're rewriting an application from the ground up, and like there's only 4 people on my team, so it's a pretty big application. So it's just funny. It's just funny that like, I don't know. I find it funny that businesses can't. I don't know. Whatever. I shouldn't talk about work when I'm streaming, but it's just we're under a lot of shit. We're under a lot of stress right now at work. So let's see. Is this? Yeah. Let me see if I can get some. Craft ourselves some new gear here. I've been sleeping in my bed. So we need battle pouch. Fell to death at level 20 in Westfall. And boss leather boots, baby. 2 stamina, 2 spirit. Woohoo! Oh yeah. And boss gloves. Do I not have gloves? I don't even have gloves, so that's pretty funny. Boss leather gloves. All right.
Goddess, watch over you.
What brings you here?
What's my cloak? 8 armor?
Del Nadres.
Feel free to browse.
Embossed leather cloak. Okay, we don't have enough.
A loom lightly.
I am honored.
Okay, we want wing clip and a raptor strike. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Goddess watch over you.
Actually, you know what I forgot to do? I actually need to skill up my leatherworking. Skinning, cooking, first aid, fishing. Armor, 19, still not good. Problem with armor is you keep getting like upgraded armor, but as you level, every time you level, your armor, your damage reduction goes down. So like, if I don't modify my gear and I level to the next level, even though my armor is the same, my damage reduction goes down. So you have to constantly increase your armor to keep up with that percentage. So
My goods are of the highest quality.
probably gonna need that. So at level 70, we're gonna get pants at level 75. Okay, cool.
Be careful.
See a tag speed on that. Attack speed is 1.7. Okay, not bad. Pretty slow for a dagger, which is good. We don't want it to be fast.
brings you here? Ishnu Daldier. Go in peace.
I'm listening. Good luck.
Hmm. Any new Chrono Odyssey videos? I actually watched Force Gaming's said we need to talk about Chrono Odyssey, and actually it wasn't bad. He said a lot of good things about the game, but he said a lot of bad things about the game. But overall, it was, wasn't that bad. Hmm.
Greetings. Good luck, friend. Greetings.
Hello.
Ishnuala.
All right. Well, nobody's talking in stream, and I'm getting tired. So I think I'm gonna take a break or quit for now. I think everybody in the stream either fell asleep or went to bed. But yeah, we got a dagger, which is great. We got our first weapon. Level 13. I'll probably come back and play a little bit before I go to bed, but I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna stop the stream here though, because I'm kind of tired. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you next time. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I'd be interested. Like Zelch, Zelch probably stepped away, but I wonder what FPS game he's gonna play, because he said he was thinking going back to FPS games, but I don't know. I just don't think there's. I don't know, man. I'd be curious to play an FPS game if they came out with one that was like Overwatch, but most of them are just too toxic. They're just not worth playing. I mean, the problem is I'm older now and I can't deal with the kiddies anymore because they're just a bunch of immature little pricks. And so it's just like you kind of get tired of dealing with that kind of crap. So in MMOs, you can kind of get around it because there's a lot of older people play MMOs, but when you start playing FPS, there's more of a younger crowd, I think. And even though I was once really damn good at FPS, I'm probably not as good anymore, and I just don't know if I have the energy to put in the time to get good again. But anyways, I'll catch you guys there. I can't wait for Project Epoch, though. I think that's going to be really interesting. And actually, I'm really missing playing Chrono Odyssey. I actually really liked playing Chrono Odyssey. The game had tons and tons of issues, but the sad part about Chrono Odyssey is just the blatant copying of New World and the lying by them. Like, just, I don't know, you lose a lot of respect for me if you can't just create your own game. Like, you blatantly copy something. I mean blatantly copy. I mean like seriously copy another game. Like, but even though that tons of Chrono Odyssey is such a blatant copy, I mean it's really bad of New World, it's still a fun game. In fact, I find I actually enjoyed Chrono Odyssey, at least the combat anyway, like way more than I did New World's combat. Even though I like New World's combat too, but I think Chrono Odyssey's combat's better. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, thank you. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break. I'm tired. I hope you guys are having a good time wherever you are. Peace out. I will catch you next time, man. See ya.
That is all I have to say on this matter.
Not just when I'm alone, not just when I haven't got you except inside my phone, not just when I'm friends with my thoughts, not just when I'm gonna get caught.